G'day, ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder. Now, just quickly regarding the footage, I've decided to speed up the first few minutes of the game. It's just that the climb, whilst being boring, is extremely important in the Narval, which is what we're going to be talking about today. I'd also like to apologise if you can hear the air conditioning in the background. It is currently 35 degrees and the humidity is through the roof, and I'm not willing to turn it off. So, if it's a bother, I apologise, but unfortunately that's the way it's going to have to go. So, the Narval. Is it actually decent, or is it terrible, or is it somewhere in between, or what's its problems, what's its strengths, what's its weaknesses? So much to delve into with this plane. It's very, very interesting. For a start, it's a pusher rather than a puller prop, and it's also got contra-rotating props. And you might not think that they play a role, but in fact, in the maneuvering of the plane, you can certainly feel the difference between, say, a Bf-109 and a Narval, where the heaviest part of the plane, for example, a Bf-109 or a Spitfire or a P-47, is the nose with the engine. In the Narval, it's halfway down the fuselage, with the copy of... I can't remember what the engine's name is, but it's essentially a copy of a D9's engine. With, I think, a supercharger. Correct me if I'm wrong. But essentially, the plane maneuvers a little bit funny. And it takes a lot of getting used to. You'll tend to struggle with this plane. It's not an easy plane to start with. Is it a good premium still? We'll get to that in a bit, but the short answer is yes. It's just got a very, very strong armament, decent maneuverability, very good rudder, and decent high-speed performance, which I find quite good. It's also very good to learn the basics of boom and zoom, as well as being a good enough intermediate plane where you can pull off some maneuvers. You can reverse Focke-Wulf 190s, Bf-109s if you're good enough. You can even have a go at reversing a G56. I wouldn't recommend it. It'd have to be a very stupid G56, but you can certainly pull it off. But what I'm doing here in the background footage is I'm using that high-speed capability at altitude to try and pull away from the 109s that are on my tail. Mind you, they're 3 or so kilometers off, but I don't want them getting within 3.5, because that will give me enough time to turn around and engage a head-on, which this plane is really, really good at. You've got to be careful, though, because if you go for too many head-ons, people tend to get used to you, and they'll learn to disengage. So you've got to pick the head-on at the right spot, or you've got to do what I prefer to do, and use boom and zoom tactics. Now, the Bf-109s have decided to... One of them's decided to go down for that Sea Fury. It's leaving me in a 1v1, which I know I can win. I pull off a really, really shady head-on. I probably shouldn't have come out of that alive if he was shooting better, but I come out of it alive anyway. And that's the 6 MG151s at work. I take some slight damage from a 13mm, but now I'm in an energy advantage, and I've got pretty much free reign on the enemy team. So I can do whatever the hell I want, really. That's the beauty of the Narval. Once you have that air superiority at altitudes of above 5,000 meters, you're pretty much golden, and you can keep a pretty decent airspeed without having to worry about being shot down because someone's just energy climbed up to you. Now, you can see I'm looking for a target to go for, and realistically, I'm just going to go for the closest one. Simply because there's no one engaging, and all of a sudden the P-47 comes in and ruins it. That's fine, because he'll be very useful in the later parts of the game. I decide to go for the 190 because I can, and that isn't really the smartest option either. It essentially puts me below the enemies, and as soon as enemies see a Narval below, they know that that's something that they can maneuver with, and then they go for it. Thankfully, though, I'm using the clouds and the allies to my advantage. I pick off that 109, and there's another one on my tail. And because I've kept that speed in the dive, I haven't bled it in a turn, I can just zoom straight out of there, use that energy retention to good use. As you can see in the kill feed now, oh boy. I didn't see the crash myself, but my squad mate Blazer who saw that. Yeah, that just put us in a massive advantage. And with a potentially lethal group of planes taken out by each other, and the rest of them pretty much on the deck at low enough energy, again, I've got free reign on them. And that's the beauty of the Narval. You just pick one off that's coming into the clouds, get a crit on that one, get some hits on this BF-109, and I've still got something like 700 kilometers of airspeed, and I'll just go straight up for a small zoom climb and roll over. Keeping that energy, and whilst they're all distracted by the Spitfire and by Blazer, I can just come in and swoop. And this plane works really well in that respect. If you've got a friendly baiting for you, there's just almost nothing that they can do, especially if you engage them in a 2v1. Poor shooting there on my half. I go for the rollover because he's turning towards Blazer. I turn away from him because I thought that I would be able to get a nice kill on him because he's going for my friendly. Turns out I get one anyway by Shady Head On, I think. No, never mind. 4 kills in the bag there, just by working as a team, baiting them, trapping them energy-wise. This BF-109 really is just in a poor state. He's been doing too much turning, and there's my ace. Yeah, simple as that. Unfortunately, my squad mate Blaze got nothing. He did some great baiting, and we had fun together. And that's the beauty of the Narval. You can actually, if you have that energy advantage, you can actually do some really good work. And if you don't, and you've got a squad mate, you can sort of worm that energy advantage out of the enemy. And you can come out on top with a nice ace. I honestly don't see anything much more enjoyable than that. And the Narval is a decent plane to facilitate that. Is it the best? No, definitely not. That mantle will have to go to the P-47M. That plane is just insane. It's absolutely insane. It's got pretty much everything going for it. Is it 5.7 worthy? No. Is the Narval 5.7 worthy? Maybe not. It's really hard to tell because it's a borderline plane. It would be good at 5.3. It would be way too good at 4.7, and it would be very good at 5.0. So maybe it could go down to 5.3. But at the moment, 5.7 seems to be around about the ballpark where it seems to be okay. I would personally like to see it go down to 5.3, but honestly, sometimes I think it doesn't need it. Other times I seem to get clubbed by TAR 152s and it just ruins my day. In saying that though, this plane isn't really designed to take on more than one enemy at a time. It's designed to hunt in packs, and the way that the engine is situated means that you can get some really nice shots where you pull into the enemy and still have that energy retention to run away. But you can't really do that if you have that energy disadvantage. As soon as it's gone from you, as soon as you are below the enemy on low speed, you are toast. It's not like a Spitfire where you can defensive fly amazingly and come out on top, or the G55S where you can do the same. You need energy and you need speed. And that is the big killer of the SO.8000 because it doesn't have a great climb rate. Even though it gets an air spawn, you'll still be below the TARs. And the fact that this plane faces the TAR 152 in every 5.7 match it faces against Germany, it's not good for it. It tends to be a sort of mortal enemy for the SO.8000. So that's basically the SO.8000 in a nutshell. You've got to climb, you've got to be above the enemy, and you've got to have that energy advantage. Unfortunately, you won't get that all the time, and unfortunately your team will die most of the time, or a good portion of the time, and leave you with nothing. But if you can get a good teammate, I would recommend squatting up. And at the moment, I think the Narval is pretty cheap or on a 50% discount or something like that at the moment. So I would recommend picking it up. Grab a couple of mates, have some fun, earn some RP, grind some French. It'll be good. Anyway, ladies and gents, hope you enjoyed. Take care. I've just got some social media links below. Check them out for me. Take care, and catch you later.